Hello and welcome everyone. My name is Abdullah Rambo.
And I'm Ahmed Hatem Jamjoom. We're both students at Thamer International Schools. We're thrilled to make special episodes to our podcast.
That's right. We're diving into the world of cultural exchange and diplomacy, focusing on the unique relationship between France and Saudi Arabia. Our guests today are Mr. Quentin Richard and Miss Elizabeth.
Mr. Richard is here to talk about how the consulate promoting a vibrant exchange of French and Saudi cultures.
Thank you for joining us, Mr. Richard and Miss Elizabeth. We can't wait to hear your insight and dive into this fascinating world of cultural diplomacy. Let's start by understanding more about what you do. So could you tell us more about your role as the Cultural Attaché at the French Consulate in Jeddah?
First of all, we would like to thank you as a student. It's very nice from you to be interested in the French and Saudi cooperation. I'm just arrived as an attaché of cooperation and cultural affairs 1 year ago, and Quentin just 3 weeks ago. We are both working for the cultural affairs. We are here to enhance cooperation between the both countries and to organize some cultural events.
As Cultural Attaché, our aim is to strengthen relations and cultural exchanges between our both countries and to find new forms of possible cooperations to facilitate exchanges and dialogue between the French and Saudi artists, institutions, and citizens too.
How do you go about promoting French culture in Saudi Arabia?
We have different sides, the cultural side, if you want to answer, and I will answer about cooperation and French language, if you...
Mm-hmm. I think it's not only just how to promoting French culture, but how try to blend the Saudi culture and the French culture, and to see what kind of dialogue is possible between our two culture. And I think we can create some artistic residencies. And there is a lot of way possible to do that. In music, for instance, I think there is a lot of possible dialogue between instrumental music, jazz, and jazz. So I think maybe in digital art too. So I think the best way is to try to invite some artists who will stay a long time in Saudi and who will have the desire to create with some Saudi artists, or not only to invite some French artists who will make a show, make an exhibition, and come back to France. So I think it's always better when it's a long-term relationship and long-term, partnership.
Yes.
And we have to keep in mind that we have bilateral agreements between both countries. There is a notice that there is a lack of knowledge about French culture here, and there is a lack of knowledge about Saudi culture in France. So our main mission is to build a bridge between both countries in cultural aspects and also in cooperation, because we are in charge too to enhance cooperation between universities and between students and professors, not only artists, but also on the university side and technical cooperation side too.
So building on that, how would you describe the current cultural exchange between France and Saudi Arabia?
They sign agreements first.
Yes.
It's an official friendship between both countries, which is very important to know that both countries have excellent relation and sign many agreements in different aspects and different domains. So we have to be in the official framework and official friendship between both countries. This is the most important for us, to go through this agreement, not to have empty agreements without any concrete steps, just official one. No, we work on the ground. This department, we have this department here in Jeddah, and we are the same department in Riyadh in the embassy. It's the Department of Cultural Affairs and Cooperation, and we all are in charge of this agreement implementation on the ground with the people, with the university, with the artists, with any institution, with El Balad in Jeddah, for example. So we implement the agreements signed by our both officials, and it's a friendship relation.
So all departments are working together on the same.
You have the same departments. You have Riyadh, which is the embassy, and they have their Department of Cultural Affairs and Cooperation. And here we are in the General Consulate, linked to Riyadh, but it's like an extension of this department here in Jeddah. So we are both in charge of the same mission, the same objectives and assignments, the implementation of the agreements, cultural and cooperation agreements, and to push forward also to sign other agreements between both countries to illustrate our friendship.
It's only in Jeddah and Riyadh?
Yes, for the department, yes, we are just in Jeddah and Riyadh because you have just a general consulate in Jeddah linked to the embassy. The embassy is in the capital of Saudi Arabia.
Are there any big culture events or collaborations coming up that you're excited about?
Yes, I think there is a beautiful collaboration, which is a 48 hours challenge, film challenge, which is a partnership between the French Alliance Française, the embassy and the French Consulate in Jeddah, and with the Red Sea Film Foundation. So it's basically a mentorship program for creating new short film, and we will work with a residency program in France with some Saudi artists during the Clermont-Ferrand Film Festival, who will happen in February of 2025.
Okay. So are there any partnerships between the French and Saudi educational institutions you're involved with?
Yeah, we work closely with the universities and with the Saudi schools also around the French language, because we're here also to support the teachers in French language. So we gather them, we meet them, we have a network missions to have them enhance the project, the common project. And also we work closely with the universities, UBT, KAU, some very close universities here in Jeddah and also Riyadh, and French universities in several fields, sport management, finance, could be also design, it could be really the whole aspects of the high studies and research.
So you're working to share this the French language.
Yeah, we both. We promote the French language, and we have the Alliance Française also, teaching French language here in Jeddah. Alliance Française, maybe you know, it's an organization teaching French. But we at the university were here also to push the students to learn French and to study in France too, because it's our goal to attract more Saudi students to go to France. Yes. It's very important for us to have Saudi students and to have Saudi friends coming to France to study. We have a lot of program taught in English in France, so it could be really an asset for Saudi student to come to France, because he can study in English and in parallel study French language. So he can get 3 languages, 2 languages, French and English, and have a wonderful experience in France also.
Could you tell us about any activities that the consulate promoting the French language here in Jeddah?
I think if we want to promote the French language, we have to explain the students why do they have, what's the assets, because French sometimes it's considered as a romantic language, but I think it's not enough, because for business and for work and for studying, it has to be practical and implemented in business and studying. So we have just to give the Saudi students the right information about high studies in France and what the professional opportunities also to work with the French language, through the French language, and not excluding the English one, but also to use the French language as a business language.
As a different language.
Yes.
Additional.
Yes.
Are there opportunities for Saudi artists to participate in events in French?
As we want to try to create some program, art residency program, who can mix and blend Saudi artists, French artists, to make new creation between our two countries. But I think too, there is a lot of cultural institutions in France who can receive some Saudi artists, such as in film festival, such as in music festival, also in other institutions. For instance, there is l'Institut du Monde Arabe à Paris, who is organizing some exhibitions, some events, and they have also, I think it's a good thing. They have a lot of good podcasts in French and in Arab.
So how do you see the cultural exchange programs benefit both Saudi and French citizens?
I think when there are long-term programs, it's good because, as I said before, I think it's better when one artist comes to Saudi Arabia, at least, I will say, at least 1 month. He will have time to discover the local culture, the local artist. So I think it will be a strongest and true relationship. And so I think it's the best way to do.
And to just to fill this gap of knowledge about both countries, because we don't usually, French people don't know Saudi culture and people. And it's the same for you because you know more American culture, and it's in history, it's like that. But you have more information about U.S. and Great Britain and British. So it's nice also to fill this gap all together and to know each other more. It's a
new experience, new language.
New experience, new culture, new exchange.
What advice would you give to young Saudis interested in learning more about studying in France?
So you have 2 questions in one. How to advise first to have a visit at French Alliance Française, to have in mind to have the whole information about their programs and to know which program is more convenient to his level or her level. And secondly, we have a QR code which can be given through my colleague called, his name is Kamel, and you can get all the information about how to study in French, how to be welcome in France, how for students to get some housing in France. So you can have all the programs taught in English or taught in French. So to get, so I mean the thing which is very important when you are young, it's a curiosity, to be curious about new things. So I advise people just to go on the site called Campus France, and she will get all the information about how to study in France and how to study French language also in France.
Does it also include the culture of France?
Yes,
culture?
This QR code also gathers some information about the French culture.
And I think when you go to study in France or to go to travel there, I think it's good to see some movie in French or to listen some music in French. And there is a lot of, for instance, playlists who are doing by What's the France. They are doing some music playlists online, and I think it's a good way to discover or to listen podcast. For instance, the podcast of the l'Institut du Monde Arabe could be a great way to
learn French.
Yeah.
Or a football match.
Football match, but what about women's Saudi women when they wanted, they're maybe not interested in football.
Yes.
Not so much.
Thank you so much, Miss Elizabeth and Mr. Quentin, for this. It's been a pleasure for sharing your time and your insights with us.
Shukran, merci beaucoup.
Merci, thank you.
We truly appreciate this opportunity. Merci beaucoup.
Merci, thank you.
C'est merci, c'est un plaisir. It was a pleasure. It was very nice to have you in discussion. Thank you. Shukran.